One that I think is really important to talk about nonetheless. So let's watch this together, reconvene, and I will tell you all of my thoughts per usual.
Anyone who's not convinced yet that the big divorce is coming,
I totally agree that the big divorce is coming and it's going to be a rude awakening for men. Well, I hope it's the rude awakening that men have needed for thousands of years. Men are in for a rude awakening because I think women are just done. We've just gotten to the place where we're demanding more from our partnerships. And the whole excuse of like, yeah, I know you need this, but I'm just going to ignore your needs for forever is just, it's running out. Like women are just tapping out by the masses because we realize that it hasn't changed and it's not going to change. And sometimes I know in my personal life, I've experienced this, that when your ass hits the ground, you're forced to really look at your life in a new way. And I think that that's coming for men in a landslide. Like we saw Barbie, right? And I saw an attorney also make commentary on the fact that she thinks that Barbie is impacting or could be impacting women getting divorced because women are so sick and tired of being mistreated, of not being appreciated,
That's true.
of being taken advantage of, and then at the end of the day, feeling controlled in some way, shape, or form with money, finances, decision making, or just not living the big life that they want to be living. And a lot of women feel like that the center of that unhappiness is men. So I'm with you, Mel. I think the big divorce is coming and hope. I do believe the great divorce is coming. I personally can't wait because I think we need a rude awakening. By we, I mean men.
That's a good point, man. That's a good point. Let me see what Courtney had to say.
So a lot to talk about here, a lot to unpack. Again, not a very refreshing or fun video. I think this is important. It's definitely a deeper topic, but I've seen this discussion happening a lot and I wanted to share a bit of a different perspective. So yes, as she said, there have been a ton of people saying that the great divorce or the big divorce is coming.
What
is
mean?
the great divorce? You might
What
be
does
wondering.
that mean? I never heard that before. The great divorce is happening. Well, I heard it in political instance, right? People just declaring that they want to separate from one side or the other, but never heard this in a terms of sociodynamics. So this is new for me.
Well, it's not the book by C.S. Lewis, okay? But a new term being used to describe a predicted widespread divorce increase. Now, according to statistics, and I'll pop them on the screen for you so that you can see, the divorce rate is going down. But I think a big contributing factor to the divorce rate declining is that marriage rates are also declining. So I think it's important to mention that as well when people say that, oh, well, the divorce rates are decreasing. Well, that's a big part of that is because less people are getting married. So I think that's an important, note to make there. But getting into it, I think this is a rude awakening for both men and women.
Stop.
And I'm going to explain all the reasons why.
Stop saying for men and women, man. Can we hold females accountable for once, man? The crazy ones. But I think personally, when it comes down to this conversation, when you go men and women, you're not achieving anything, right? You're just putting this twitch in the status quo. That's my personal
But I
opinion.
also want to mention that this is an incredibly nuanced topic. Marriage, relationships, dating. It's all so nuanced. It's not black and white.
It's not.
No hate to these creators. There's a ton of people talking about it.
No, it's not. If you be following the community, you know, late 1990s and the beginning of the 2000s when the pickup artists, they have been talking about this for years. This is not new.
This is not directed at them specifically.
New
I think
for
this
you
is
all,
just a
but it's
general
not new.
conversation I want to open up. To get online in a video and to say that, men are in for a rude awakening or that men are entirely to blame for divorce it's uneducated and I think it could actually be harmful. I don't think it's actually helpful for women at all to say that men are 100% to blame or the only ones that are in for a rude awakening. I think if you fail to reflect, to take accountability for the role that you played in a marriage and the choices that you made that led you there, how can you learn from that? And make sure that your future relationships are more successful and more healthy. I don't know if you guys are familiar with second and third marriage statistics, but the source that I found states those who wed multiple times face a far higher rate of divorce. In fact, 67% of second marriages end and 73% of third marriages are being dissolved.
And I think, oh, hold up. I think those statistics might be a little lower because I heard they were a little bit higher than that. almost 69%, and almost the third one 80%.
So clearly what we're doing now is not working. Because if women were getting out of their first marriages and it was all the man's fault, right? It was all the man's fault. They get into their second marriage, that one fails too. They get into their third marriage and that fails too. Well, there's a common denominator in all of your failed marriages. One of the biggest issues that I think is actually happening here, I don't believe people fully understand the commitment of marriage. I don't believe most people are equipped with the required skills needed for marriage or just a healthy relationship. And according to the statistics here, a lack of knowledge about what marriage entails is one of the leading contributing factors to divorce. In fact, 72% of couples reported they didn't fully understand the commitment involved in marriage before they tied the knot. And many divorced people said they were surprised their partner changed over their marriage and were unable to personally cope with new problems that arose over time.
Wow.
I think there's a bigger issue here.
That's a big one. That's a big one. For the reason is, and let me just put my 2 cents on this. The religious aspect of marriage, we took the church out of it and religious values out of it. Now we open to the values of the world, but the values of the world tend to be more inclined with the feminine side. It is, right? And with boomers coming into the equation, they dropped the ball, man. They stopped teaching culture, right? They start divorcing in a higher rate. So new generations, they started just learning those behaviors. Because it's easy to commit sinful, let's put it this way, sinful action when you have a strong culture, right? You can always get backed up by that culture when it's strong. But when you're in a culture where those values has been put under the rug, it's just hard to just bounce from that perspective. And those things have really contributed to the higher divorce rate. Marriage is a religious ceremony. People only want the marriage, but they don't want the religious aspect of it.
Than saying men are in for a rude awakening or that men are 100% to blame, because that's obviously not true, okay? I completely understand that men play a role. They are absolutely to blame. They are part of the problem, right? Sorry, guys. But so are women.
In a weird ways, yes.
I think people are uneducated about what marriage is. They don't fully understand the concept of marriage before they get married. They're more focused on doing things that are expected of them because there's a societal expectation to get married, to have kids. Bad. I'm going to talk about that later in the video too, but they're more concerned with the actual wedding day than the marriage. And I think the issue starts with the fact that people don't know what to expect.
Courtney, but who's that? Who is more concerned with the marriage? Oh, I'm sorry, with the wedding and not the marriage. Who? See, that's the question. And there's only one person to blame for that. On one side.
From marriage. They have a totally unrealistic, delusional view of what marriage is. You know, who you marry is arguably the most important decision you will ever make in your entire life.
Correct.
Choose wisely. You know, if you're a woman who's dating a man and the man never contributes or helps around the house, doesn't do anything, expects you to do everything, why do you think marrying him is going to change him?
Yeah, but that's not the guys that they're marrying. Or the guys that want to get married. You see, like, this is kind of weird. They're marrying the beta buck, right? Because they already spent their years effing the alpha F, you know? And now they're just hopping to the beta bucks, and the beta bucks is not giving them that same arouser. I'm just keeping 100 with y'all. I mean, that's what it is, and they get tired, and they just want go back to those old behaviors because these things are behavior based. That's what it is.
And I can absolutely sit here and say that's a problem that men do. That's a problem. Both people have to be contributing, right? But why are we choosing so poorly? There are men out there who don't do that. There are tons of men who are not like that.
Yeah, it's called the 80%. It's called the 80%, Courtney. That's what it is. All right. So there's some biological incentives to these things, and with the incorporation of feminists into the institutions, they basically cut off certain shortcuts, right, to just get to that high 20 to 10% of guys, right? And the dating apps clearly show that.
And I know firsthand. I think a lot of us need to be better partners, men and women. But I think we also need to choose better partners. But how can we choose better partners if we don't know what to expect? We have no idea what we're doing, and we aren't good partners. We choose people who are a direct reflection of our emotional and personal development. The more you improve that about yourself, I think the better partner you'll choose.
That's called accountability, I understand, but...
And the issue is starting with the individual, I think.
Yeah, I know you're right, but it's just now you're talking about accountability. Accountability only goes one side. You know, that's the problem. The accountability is always expected from the man, right? Our system is just devoted that way. You know, you talking. I understand those are good advice. However, you're talking to men right now because from the side of females, you see from these podcasts, man, that word accountability, ain't it? Nah, man, it's not even close.
So no, I don't think that men are entirely to blame for the great divorce or the big divorce. I don't think just men are in for a rude awakening. I think we're all in for a rude awakening. I think this is shedding a light on a huge issue we have in our society. That we are not properly equipped with relationship skills for marriage and for a healthy relationship. And I don't understand why this is not something that's taught.
It is taught. It was. That's the point. It was. Culturally, morally, you know, everywhere. But again, something happens in the culture. We took it all away because we thought that we knew better because we have a television in a phone, I guess, right? And now all of a sudden in radio. So all of a sudden now we know better. Like,
I feel like that should be taught in school. Am I crazy for saying that?
We used to.
You know, even if you're not someone who wants to get married someday, I think it's still so beneficial to have the skills required for a married someday. I think it's still so... Am I crazy for saying that? You know, even if you're not someone who wants to get married someday, I think it's still so beneficial to have the skills required for a healthy relationship, whether that be romantic or platonic. So yes, I think we can all acknowledge that men play a role here for sure. Men absolutely play a role in divorce. But I don't think that we should be confidently saying that men are the only ones to blame or that men are the only ones who...
I don't know, folks. The videos already gave me... I don't know. Just got a little bit...
...load in a relationship. A lot of marriages where the following is occurring. Again, according to statistics here. Women often carry more of the mental load in a relationship and also take on primary caregiving roles for children. The added burden they face, especially when they feel their support system is lacking, could help to explain why they are more likely to initiate divorce. Right? This is happening.
That is so weird, man, that statement. I don't even know what to say. So basically, it's you're not doing enough as a man. That's what it's just boiled to, right? It's going to boil down to you not doing enough.
If you're someone watching who doesn't believe that this is happening, well, I'm sorry, but you are misinformed. You are incorrect. This is absolutely
I don't think
happening.
so, Corny. I don't think so. I think when it's going to be enough. I mean, support. I mean, come on, man. I don't know, folks.
Both people need to be contributing. You cannot consistently take and never give. This will look different depending on the people involved, the roles that each person plays within their own relationship. Again, nuance here. It's not black and white. Differing financial situations. I mean, I could go...
All right, so you're going to go basically a status quo. So I'm going to put the link in the description down below. And that way you guys can go and watch the original content. That's all I'm going to say. No, I think certain things here, especially when you already have your experience in your back pocket, man, I'm telling you, some of these things doesn't make sense. So basically in these statistics, of this last statement. Let's read it. Right? Women often carry more of the mental load in a relationship. What mental load are we talking about? No idea. And also take on a primary caregiving role for children. Understood. The added burden they face, especially when they feel their support system is lacking, could help to explain why they are more likely to initiate divorce. Yeah, that's why they go to TikTok and divorce and just record their next day with the person they were cheating on. Really? That's why. So what could the guy do to just avoid something like that? You can't. You can't, because it goes down to the incentives created by the system for you to commit those type of actions. Divorce is rampant because there's no accountability. Simple as that. All the incentives is for you to get a divorce. As a female, that is. I don't know, folks. Let me know what you guys see in the comment section below. I'm going to leave the entire full video in the description down below. Make sure you guys go and watch the entire thing. What do you guys think? I might be wrong. I might be right. Just let me know in the comment section.